Okay, this is what the pen case looks like after it's dried. Now all we're going to do is we're going to just sand off the veneers. We can carve it with a chisel, but when I'm doing big batches, I find this is the easiest way to do it. It's quick. That's the first side done. That's the second side done. It's just 60 grit sandpaper. I'm just being rough, we're not fine sanding it yet. And that's what it looks like. So it's all sanded, you can see the veneer keys. Now it's time to do the lid. You got up there? Yeah. Now, the lid of the box, what I usually do is try to make it center so that the lid runs in the middle of the box sides. Now, to get the center, all you're basically doing is just measuring the distance from this lip here to that end. So in this case it's 54 millimeters. So it's 54 mils that way, and lengthways is the same thing. It's basically the length of that lip to that lip, and it'll fall center in the center there. Now the thickness of the lid can generally 8 to 12 mils. 12 mils, big chunky lid doesn't look as nice, so I try to keep it as thin as possible. But if you make the lid too thin, the lid may warp or cup quite easily. So 8 to 12 mils, whatever you like. And that's it there, sanded on both sides. Now to put the rebate into the lid, all we do is we use a rebate cutting router bit. And this is my homemade router fence. With the router bit in place, what we want to do is we want to cut the height of about half the lid. So you can make it less, you can make it more. Obviously the more you take off, the lower the profile the lid will be when it's closed, and the less it is, the higher the profile. Now the higher it is, doesn't look as nice. The lower the profile, it looks nicer, but then you end up losing some space within the box. So that's it there. Whenever you're passing it through the router, you always do the end grains first. After you've done the end grain, then you do the long grain. So I'll tell you why you do it with the end grain first. So I haven't set the fence. Look, I'll just move this fence now. I just want to start a little bit back, less than what I need. So we've taken a little bit off, and we'll do it for both ends. And we just want to check it. So we've still got about another 4 or 5 mils, so I'll just cut that fence back a bit. On both ends. By passing it through twice, it means that you've got equidistance on both sides. So I'll just move it back a bit more. You do it end grain first because you will always end up chipping out there. So we've only got about another mil or two. Now we're almost there. Take little cuts rather than big cuts. See, we're just about half a mil off, so I'll only do one side now. That's just a friction fit now. The problem with the friction fit is that it may not, if it expands and it contracts, it just ends up being slightly too hard to open and close. So that's it there. There's probably half a mil in it, if that. You see? And I just want to test it to make sure it fits nice and tightly. Now that's probably a bit too tight for my liking, like that's how tight it is. So I'll just take a fraction off. So now if I put that in, it won't jam shut tight. So I like that size. So I'll just start again. I'll push the fence back forward, and now I'll do the long grade. Again, we've got 5 or 6, probably 7 or 8 mils. We want to take lots of little cuts rather than one big chunk. Getting very close now. That's about 2 mils. That there's about 1.5 mils. I'll just test that. We're very, very close. There we go. It's nice and tight now. You can see there's very, very little wiggle room. Now, one thing you do want to check is you want to check to make sure it goes in that way as well. So that's what the box looks like. Now all we've got to do is put on the lid. The lid, and if you're making a pen case, the rest. So I'll show you now how to do the lids. Actually, while I'm doing this video, to find the center point, all I do is grab that, mark the center point, and that's where the hole for the lid will go.